Assalamualaikum and very good morning to Puan Hasanah binti Tamili. My name is Anissa binti Kamarudin, ID number 2019423914, and I am from IC 210-3A. Here I am is actually to discuss about our presentation of our assignment that we had the last few weeks ago. The title of our assignment is Ar-Rahn in Financial Banking System Challenges in Malaysia. I hope you will enjoy this presentation. So basically, I managed to explain about Ar-Rahn in Malaysia generally. First, in Malaysia, the pawnbroking business began since the 15th century and was introduced by the Chinese merchants during the Sultanate of Malacca. Number 2, the contracts that have both features of commercial value and Sharia compliance are the only concern for the Islamic bank to offer a debt-based contract to the people. Number 3, Islamic pawnbroking, which is Ar-Rahn, has seen a significant role in Islamic credit institution to contribute socio-economic development for lower-income people to get quick cash financing. Number 4, Ar-Rahn serves free interest loan and place the valuable assets. Number 5, the main part to be looked from Sharia compliance on requirements lending loan free of riba and gharar. Muslims are not allowed to invest in business considered non-halal or prohibited in Islam. It helps people to eliminate the informal lending activities such as loan shark and ahlo, which is clearly victimize the lower income group. In this slide, we just stated 4 objectives of our assignment. Firstly, we will describe about the concept of Ar-Rahn in financial banking system. Secondly, we will explain about the implementation of Ar-Rahn in Malaysia. Thirdly, we will also identify about the challenges of Ar-Rahn in Malaysia. And lastly, we will study on how to overcome the challenges of Ar-Rahn in Malaysia. Me, as a first presenter of this group, are allowed to explain about the first objective of our assignments. The first objective is to describe about the concept of Ar-Rahn in financial banking system. First, Al-Misri 1986 state Ar-Rahn in Islam means blocking a property with the permission of where the property is equal to the total debt. 2. Asharbini 1993 defines the collateral makes a property as security or collateral for loans where the loan can be taken away from him when he is unable to pay back. 3. In general, Ar-Rahn pawnbroking is an activity whereby a valuable item is collateralized to a debt which may be utilized as a payment should the debt is not repaid within an agreed period. Number 4, Ar-Rahn is a combination of 3 concepts is applied for the short term in financing under Islamic pawnbroking such as Qardul Hasan, Ar-Rahn and Wadi'ah. Next, I will explain about the pillars of Ar-Rahn, which stated 5 overall. The first one is Ar-Rahn, which means pledger of a debtor. Second, Murtahin, which means pledgee or a creditor. Thirdly, Al-Marhun, which means the pledged assets. Number 4, Al-Marhun Bih, which means the debt. 5, Sirah, which means offer and acceptance. At the end of my part, I will show you about the advantages and disadvantages of Ar-Rahn. The advantages is more than disadvantages. The first advantages is simple credit to the credit facility. Second, assets pledged to the final institution will be returned to the client. Third, the financing is not about basing on the customer's income as the case on an ordinary personal loan. Last, it eases the customer to search or we go through all the Ar-Rahn financing. The disadvantages, takaful bore by the financing for safekeeping of the assets or items. Principle of conventional finance where the charge, which is interest, are based on the amount lent.
Alright, we continue. The second objective is the implementation of Ar-Rahn in Malaysia. Before my other friends explain about the implementation of Ar-Rahn in Malaysia, I want to tell you guys about the history of Ar-Rahn in Malaysia. The introduction of the Ar-Rahn system is an alternative to the traditional pawnbroking scheme, which is mainly spearheaded by the Chinese. realizing that pawnbroking is very common among the majority Muslim Malaysians. A few financial institutions in Malaysia have worked hard to introduce Ar-Rahn in their operations as an alternative to the traditional mortgage system that has long been developed in the country. In addition, the implementation of the Islamic pawnbroking mechanism is an extension of the Islamization process in the country's banking and financial system. There have been demands for the establishment of Islamic financial institutions since Malaysia gained its independence in 1957. However, the Muslim community at the time was not very active than non-Muslim in the area of finance and banking. This is because of their reservation regarding the traditional banking system. The second point is in Malaysia, in the 15th century, pawnbroking services were introduced through the diplomatic relations between the Empire of China and Malacca. The first pawnbrokers were the Chinese merchants who stayed in Malacca. Owing to Malacca's position as an interport, the Chinese pawnbrokers offered their services not only to the locals, but to the other street merchants as well. To date, the Chinese of Hakka descent rule most traditional pawnbroking companies. In Malaysia, the Pawnbrokers Act 1972 regulated pawnbroking. This act specifies all the necessary rules and the principles that have to practice by both the pawnbroker and the buyer. There was 21% rise in the number of traditional pawnbroking license approved between 1985 and 2006. The number of traditional pawnbroking license was 194 in 1985, while the figure rose to 234 in 2006. Okay, we have 5 countries with the largest number of traditional pawn stores is like Perak, Selangor, Johor, Kedah and Penang. States with a greater non-Malay population tend to have a larger number of traditional pawnbrokering facilities relative to states with a larger Malay population. As a result of this inequality, a concerted attempt has been made to create interest-free credit frame in Malaysia and around the world for the Muslim community. It is very often that mortgage systems serve as a microfinancing alternative for the poor and underprivileged apart from loans obtained from the banks. Unfortunately, conventional mortgage, which clearly contains elements of riba and exploitation, have gained greater attention of the public, including Muslims, aimed to assist the poor and those of low-income households from amongst the Muslim community in particular, as well as to further expand the Islamic financial institutions in Malaysia. A cabinet meeting on 30 January 1985 has approved Islamic Mortgage Foundation plan based on Ar-Rahn concept. Founded on the concept of necessity of Shara, the plan was to provide to the public substitute to the existing conventional mortgage system. The first Islamic mortgage system was pioneered by Terengganu state government through the establishment of Muassasah Gadaian Islam Terengganu (MGIT) or Basic Islamic Mortgage of Terengganu on 23 January 1992. The initiative was then followed by Kelantan state government, which instituted Ar-Rahn shop on 12 March 1992. encouraging response from the public towards the Islamic scheme eventually lead the government to announce the implementation of Islamic mortgage system throughout the country by 1993. Uh, of various financial institutions in Malaysia, the most active in implementation the scheme are National Bank, Bank Kerjasama Rakyat Malaysia, Bank Rakyat, and Yayasan Pembangunan Ekonomi Islam Malaysia, YAPIM.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Alifah Ilana binti Ahmad Tamimi. I am going to continue the second objective, which is the implementation of Ar-Rahn. The first point is the differences between Islamic pawnbroking and the conventional pawnbroking. The main differences between Ar-Rahn and the conventional pawnbroking is in the case of an Islamic pawnbroking, pledged item remain the property of the owner even though it has been mortgaged. The way to repay the marhun is based on the value of marhun and the pledge item. This mortgage system is based on the concept of charity and helping each other who in need to ease the burden. While for the conventional pawnbroker, the pledge item are mortgaged according to a certain amount during the specific period. For the method of repayment, it is based of the value of the pledge item added with the interest, which is we call it as riba. Furthermore, the concept used in Ar-Rahn and conventional pawnbroking contracts are also different. In Ar-Rahn, only gold and gold jewelry are permitted to serve as collateral, but in conventional pawnbroking, the collateral item can be in diverse such as diamond, mobile phone, jewelries, electronic tools, and others. Ar-Rahn refers to the way of taking a property as a security against a debt, and to repay the debt in the case of non-payment, a secured property can be utilized. Furthermore, conventional pawnbroking is unattainable and not compatible towards Maqasid Syariah as compared to Ar-Rahn. For example, in Daruriyah, in life category, the conventional pawnbroking which have interest charge might cause the pawnbroker to commit in crimes if they did not have enough money to pay the interest rate charge, since the rate will increase if the loan period extended. The next point is application of the concept Ar-Rahn in Islamic banking practice. So, there are two applications, which are, the first one is house financing. As an example, under house financing, normally the bank will provide the financing facility for the customer to purchase the house that makes the bank as the creditor and the customer as a debtor. And the financing is on credit sales, which creates the debt. In this situation, the creditor will make the financed house as the marhun to secure his payment obligation towards the bank. During the security term, the debtor, which is the customer, is unable to sell the house to another party unless permitted by the bank as the creditor. If the customer fails to settle his debt with the bank has the authority to sell the house to settle the outstanding amount from the sale. The bank can only take what is owed to the bank and the surplus from the sale. The second application of Ar-Rahn is Ar-Rahn will be an instrument to facilitate the microfinancing. Here, the amount of financing given will be depend on the value of the marhun, which is pledged asset. In normal Ar-Rahn microfinancing, the customer pledge their valuable assets such as gold to the pawn shop or known as Kedai Pajak Gadai Islam as the marhun. The marhun will be valued and the customer will be granted a loan based on a certain. During the borrowing period, the pawn shop as the keeper of the asset charge a fee based on daily monthly calculation for its service safekeep of the pledged item until it is reclaimed and the debt is settled. The third point is Ar-Rahn facilities in Malaysia. There are two types of agents that offer Ar-Rahn in Malaysia. There are banks and non-banks. Some example of the banks are Bank Muamalat, Bank Islam, Agrobank, RHB Bank, Bank Rakyat, and CIMB Bank. And for the non-banks, some of them are Ar-Rahn Exchange, YAPIM, Public Gold, and Post Malaysia. There are three most common agents that offer Ar-Rahn facilities that I found out, which are Bank Kerjasama Rakyat Malaysia Berhad, which is known as Bank Rakyat, The second one is MAIDAM, which is Majlis Agama Islam dan Adab Melayu Terengganu. The third one is Yayasan Pembangunan Ekonomi Islam Malaysia, YAPIM. The Bank Kerjasama Rakyat Malaysia Berhad Ar-Rahn scheme was introduced in 1993. It was first introduced in 6 branches, and now there are already 112 branches, including Kedai Ar-Rahn, operating throughout Malaysia. Interestingly, the bank had also opened the first stand-alone Kedai Ar-Rahn in Kota Baru, Kelantan in June 2000. These schemes are more of a social oriented to customers. It is not for profit, and thus the customers will benefit from it. A fee for safekeeping the goods is collected based on the value and the pawning period. The second one is MAIDAM. It is well known that Ar-Rahn MAIDAM, or formerly known as the Muassasah Gadaian Islam Terengganu, plays an important role in the economic development of the Muslim community in Terengganu. The initiative to establish an Islamic pawn shop was discussed at the meeting of the National Council of Islamic Affairs Division in April 1983. It is proposed during the meeting that the State Islamic Council, or Bank Islam Berhad, to implement the pawn broking scheme. However, both organisations showed no interest except for Majlis Agama Islam dan Adat Melayu Terengganu and Permodalan Kelantan Berhad. From there, MAIDAM launched Malaysia's first Islamic pawn shop on 23rd January 1992, and this effort was followed by PKB, which is Permodalan Kelantan Berhad, in the same year, and then YAPIM in collaboration with Bank Rakyat in 1993. Last but not least is YAPIM. Yayasan Pembangunan Ekonomi Islam Malaysia, or Islamic Economies Development Foundation of Malaysia, is a non-governmental institution established on 13 October 1976 as a result of an initiative by the federal government. As a foundation, it is subject to trust deed registered under Trustee Act, or Akta Pemegang Amanah Pemerbadanan of 1952, or in short, YAPIM Trust Deed. YAPIM is basically a government enterprise aimed to improve the economy of Muslim community and contribute to the betterment of product and Muslim society as a whole through the introduction of Islamic financial instrument or products. The one product of YAPIM that generate the highest income is Ar-Rahn. That's all from me. Thank you.
So we move on to the challenges of Ar-Rahn in Malaysia. The development of Ar-Rahn system in Malaysia has opened the eyes of many parties among financial and non-financial institutions to implement this Islamic operating system. The presence of Ar-Rahn system plays an important role in Malaysia's economic growth and also give a good impact in this country. Ar-Rahn services provide a benefit, especially to the lower income group who needs an advantageous with interest-free or lower fee based on terms and concepts applied. Even though Ar-Rahn services provide a benefit and give a good impact, there were several challenges they were faced in this pawnbroking system to sustain in the marketplace. A part of the challenges they were facing is competition among the conventional pawnbroking system, whereby conventional pawnbroking system attract the customers by offering them a high amount of loan they could make from 85% to 90%, contra to the Islamic pawnbroking system, where the amount only 65 to 80% from the value of marhun that been provided by the operator. So with the higher amount loan that provided by the conventional pawnbroking system, the customer preferred to use the conventional pawnbroking. The second challenge is underground money lending activities, or we call it as AHLO. Now, these activities is still active even to this day. Based on the statistic that were updated on 12 October 2019 by Malaysian Muslim Customers Association, the statistic shows that 80% of the illegal money lending activities users are Malay, 10%, 8% and 2% are from Chinese, Indians and other races respectively. So basically, the statistics shows that these illegal money lending activities, these underground money lending activities are still active and have been grown over the years. So even though these illegal money lending activities give a higher interest charges rate, including the agreement fees and stamp duties, which is clearly illogical, they still choose this illegal and underground money lending because they were spoiled by the terms of, apart from signing what is effectively an IOU certificate, the creditor did not promise any collateral or include any other documents. So they realized it was a they realized it give these circumstances give a bad consequences to Ar-Rahn system in order to stabilize the Islamic pawn shop widely. So, moreover, the conventional pawnbroking system and illegal money lending were more known and popular compared to Ar-Rahn because of the lack of our awareness and knowledge about this Islamic pawn shop. So there were a research conducted in Sungai Petani, and it found that the Indian community was not aware of the existence of Ar-Rahn, which led them to use the conventional pawnbroking system. Given an example, when the customers could not be reached out when the default set the customers to redeem the marhun at a specific period, they will extend to the maximum period as agreed by the bank. So by the end of the maximum period, the customer will get a notice within 14 days. Okay. If the customer does not take any action or respond towards the notice given, bank will proceed to auction, as bank has the right to do the auction. And customer will receive the notice of auction too. The auction will be used to pay the loan, safekeeping fees and other costs involved of auction, such as incurred during the auctioning process. So, as the result, if there were a surplus from the auction, the surplus will be given back to the customers as it was their rights to get. But if the customer was unlocated and could not be reached out, the surplus will be forwarded to the Baitul Mal, and just in case the customers or their relatives made a claim in the future. Opposite to the conventional pawnbroking, where they not give the surplus back to the customers. So, if the community aware and know about the existence of Ar-Rahn, they should be known about the benefit that Ar-Rahn give, whereby the surplus will be given back to the customers but not applied on the conventional pawnbroking system. The next challenges is, in the meantime, to make sure to expose and to encourage the community to know about Ar-Rahn, to aware of the existence of Ar-Rahn, to know the benefits and so on. It also, Ar-Rahn system also need to have to deliver a good quality services, since this issue has been raised by the customer. It is because quality service give a good impact, give a good impression from the customers, and they also will continuously trust to the Ar-Rahn process. So it is recommended to the Ar-Rahn operators that comply with Sharia standards to have their own international legal advisor to supervise the operation. Meaning that the international will guide them with a quality manners, with a good manners, in order to serve the customers with a good things, and the customer will give a good impression towards the quality service.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Hazwani binti Abdul Razak. My metric number is 2019253346 and I am from class IC 2103A, and today I would like to present to all of you about Ar-Rahn in financial banking system challenges in Malaysia. And my scope is study on how to overcome the challenges of Ar-Rahn in Malaysia. Okay. First of all, let me explain a little bit about Ar-Rahn. The definition of Ar-Rahn is taking a property as a security against a debt, whereby the secure property can be utilized to repay the debt in case of non-payment. There is 5 pillars of Ar-Rahn. First, Rahim, pledger. Second, Murtahin, pledge. Third, Marhun, a pledged asset. Fourth, Marhun B, the liability of Rahn. And the last one is Sirah, which is offers and acceptance. The repayment method of Ar-Rahn, either by installment or any lump sum amount, or using cash or any check. Study on how to overcome the challenges of Ar-Rahn in Malaysia. My first point is by doing some research and development, or R&D. Doing some research and development, we can determine the necessity of the system by doing what have been structured according to the early plan. This is because R&D brings a lot of benefit. First, we can manage an early strategy. Second, we can keep on improving our services. R&D required a planning based on a clear strategy. This is because to keep in the right line. R&D also need a clear motive of planning. By doing a clear motive, we can manage the service property to avoid any excessive risk, and we also have to refer any guideline to keep on the track. The second point is Ar-Rahn service providers have to design their own product. This is because in this industry, we need new creativity to obtain an alternative financial resources. For the example, in this pandemic situation, we have to create a new idea or design to keep on surviving in this industry. Ar-Rahn service provider that designing their own product can help them to get any finance for the capital round to cover any cost. Ar-Rahn service providers also have to design their product that are more unique and creative to attract more customers. This is because customer loves something new and innovative. Ar-Rahn service providers also have to target on certain people such as adults. They have to promote their services by hanging any banner to promote their new services to the community. And Ar-Rahn service provider also can promote their new services on social media. This is because according to the statistic, there's about 29 million social network users in 2019. People nowadays focus on social media more than any physical interaction, and according to that statistic, we can see that social media is much more easier to access and to attract more new customers. The third point is the government should offer a soft loan. This is because offering a soft loan to any Ar-Rahn service providers that showing their improvement can make the Ar-Rahn service provider modifying their service and customer service and improve their skills. Ar-Rahn service providers can showing up their ability in this sector and increase the economy. The Ar-Rahn service providers that working hard on how to promote this industry to the community worth the soft land. This is because the community doesn't know clearly about Ar-Rahn, so the Ar-Rahn service provider should promote well their services so that all of the community can have a knowledge about Ar-Rahn financial banking system. The fourth point is the government should consider any different annual fee charges depending on their particular size and ability. This is because they can cut any excessive capital that shouldn't be wasting on the service. By considering any different annual fee charges, they can decreasing any unnecessary modal to improving the economy. In addition, the government should invest in creating a training institution of Ar-Rahn so that a newcomer can develop their soft skill. This is because by creating a training institution can help the newcomer to improve their knowledge about the protocol, the ways to attract more people, and how to designing their fresh ideas and creating any unique ideas. If creating a training situation, they have a benefit too, such as they know how to run or manage Ar-Rahn system smoothly. The government should appoint any training staff to share their experience in this industry so that the newcomer can have their motivation on the track. The last point is study on how to overcome the challenges of Ar-Rahn in Malaysia is the government have to help by improving marketing strategies efficiently by advertising Ar-Rahn around the world. The government should also suggest any Ar-Rahn system providers that has improved their skill to the community so that the community know how to get their Ar-Rahn service providers and where to get their services. The government should also attract more people about Ar-Rahn rather than pound banking system in the television or any media platform.
Okay, last, the conclusion is Ar-Rahn institution have the potential to contend and conquer in Malaysia with traditional pawn shop with a long chronological history. This is attributed to the fact that the Ar-Rahn scheme provides welfare insurance to support low-income communities relative to traditional pawn shop operating for interest-based gains. However, an in-depth review of the relevant Ar-Rahn regulation needs to be carried out in order to improve the effectiveness of this system for the consumer. In my opinion, in this region, Malaysia has excellent opportunities and appetite to grow the Islamic pawnbroking market. Instead of resorting to illicit moneylenders who charge exorbitant interest rates and unfair recovery tactics, the government should allow those who are in desperate needs of immediate cash to approach Islamic pawnbroker to prevent monopolization and domination by a few pawnbrokers. More Islamic pawn shops should be opened in rural and overpopulated areas. That's all from me. Thank you.
created using Powtoon.